From haunted houses to cursed artifacts, from whispers in the dark to battles you'll never read in scripture. This is the Unholy Podcast, hosted by Doug Owen, author, investigator, and survivor of one of the most harrowing real-life hauntings ever documented. Each week, Doug pulls back the veil between this world and the next, sharing stories that aren't fiction, because he lived them. Prepare yourself. The silence is over.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Unholy Podcast. I'm your host, author and paranormal investigator, Doug Owen. And tonight, we're stepping into a fascinating corner of the paranormal world. Now, many listeners come from backgrounds rooted in paranormal investigation, experiences, folklore, hauntings. And tonight, we're exploring a path that is often misunderstood and misrepresented. Joining me are the ladies behind the Hallowed Hearth Podcast, Rachel Ravensveil, Katy Lynne Wolfe, and Haley Handson. So tonight, we'll discuss modern witchcraft, Wiccan beliefs, paranormal experiences, spiritual protection, haunted locations, folklore, energy, and much more. Ladies, welcome to the Unholy Podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. This is really exciting. This will be my first three-person interview at once. This will be great. So,
Oh, yay.
okay, so let's just dive right in. So question one. Rachel, let's start with you. For someone who has never heard your guys' story, what first drew you towards witchcraft and the spiritual path?
Well, I think for me, a lot of that started when I was a kid and teenager. I think that as far as the spiritual and the paranormal aspect, I think it started when I was about 10 years old and I saw my grandfather's sort of apparition at his house. And yeah, you know, the good thing is that my grandmother made it totally normal for me. And, you know, she acknowledged that, you know, she saw it too, and that he often came around and visited her, and that it was really nothing to be afraid of. So that kind of sparked that end of it. And then it was probably teenage years. And when you know, I think I've always had sort of an open mind and a kind of an inquisitive probably child. And my mom kind of fueled fire to that because she believed a lot of the same things. And so, you know, I was always open to learning about aliens and Bigfoot and, you know, other worlds, time travel, like you name it, like
My favorite things.
exactly. I could just name them all. And, you know, witchcraft, I think, came out of more for me like protection, because during high school, I think, you know, I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but they're rough years, you know, and I think that sometimes there's bullies, and, you know, you just try to, I was looking at it as a means to guard my energy.
No, absolutely. That is fantastic. So, Katy, what about you? What led you to this path?
So my path is a little different. I was raised in the church, but not like a fundamentalist church.
Okay.
And, you know, as I got older and you start questioning things and you're like, okay, but if this, then why not this?
Okay.
And so for me, it was more, okay, let's do some pattern recognition and see where, you know, this can be true because this is true. And I think just getting into the natural side of it, and everything is energy and made, and how whoever made it, it's all here and we're a part of it. And so just being able to like learn bits and pieces, I think has just felt natural. And then meeting the girls, I'm like, knowledge, let me soak it all in. I just, the learning side of it is really what is so great for me.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And Haley, what was your journey like? What do you see?
Yeah. I have an interesting set of beliefs. I don't have a lot of people that totally align with me, but that's totally fine. I've come across things very organically. I had a natural inclination towards psychic abilities and paranormal encounters throughout my childhood. So that was always very familiar with me, but I was raised in a Christian context. And for me, the more I learn about the Bible, which I think a lot of Christians don't actually read personally, the more I feel like it ties into a lot of things that are considered spiritual or even taboo. And they tell people not to do them, but they're all throughout these texts, especially when you get into the things like the Apocrypha, and they talk about alien encounters 100%. And I consider it more of a historical document and saying that these are what people have believed for this many hundreds, thousands of years. And what prevails now, we have science and other lenses to see these things through. So I like where those things intersect. Like, so all of these religions have these beliefs that all incorporate practices and using candles and sometimes blood and things that a lot of times people are like, ooh, that's evil. I'm like, but if you read what these people have been doing for forever, it's what you're telling people to do.
Yeah.
So that's my lens. I come into it very much, I wanted to be a good little Christian girl and ended up teaching my youth group that basically Jesus was a witch.
Okay, all right.
So that's how I fell into this group here.
Okay, all right. So one of the biggest misconceptions that people have is that all witches are the same. Movies portray it one way, television portrays it another. Social media creates its own image entirely. So for somebody listening tonight who hears the word Wicca, but honestly doesn't really know what that means, how would you explain it? What is Wicca? And perhaps just, as importantly, what is it not? Who wants to take that one?
Okay, so witchcraft is not Wicca.
Right, I am not
Wicca is its own separate thing, and just as valid as any other study, any other practice. But it is very much, it has kind of a rule book.
Yep.
And these are the things you have to do. You have your year and a day study, and these are the things you have to do in that year and a day. I think the three of us all would consider ourselves eclectics.
Yes, very much
so. The three of us all have very individual practices. So yeah, Wicca is a wonderful, but it's more of a religion, I think, than witchcraft is. It's a wonderful transition for those who are very much like church indoctrinated, and I need the rules and I need to know what to do.
Right.
It's a good introduction to then learning your own practice.
Okay. Interesting. So let's tackle some stereotypes. More stereotypes. They have misconceptions out there. Do you think that most people are just really ignorant about that whole thing, or do you think that Hollywood has maybe influenced it so much that everybody's perception is burn the witch?
Both.
Okay.
Absolutely both. I think from a young age, people are taught that women, especially gathering together, and not excluding male witches at all, but a lot of the Salem witch trials and things throughout history where women are communicating with each other, they're going off and doing practices that embolden themselves, and that is bad. That is scary. We don't like it. We're condemning that. And then it just kind of evolved. I mean, the whole witch trope was demonizing initially, like the pointed hats and the broom and everything was demonizing female beer brewers. Okay. That was their wardrobe. And they had cats because it would scare mice away from the hops. So it's a long, rich history of all these little tidbits of knowledge that have come across from mostly women trying to get independence, but other people seeking knowledge outside of the church and then being fueled by fear. And then Hollywood is like, oh, fear, I can make money off of that. That's so easy. Right. And they do it time and time again, and it just grows and grows and grows. So I think what's really nice is this time of age that we live in, we can have these kind of conversations without being burnt at the stake because I'm a normal person.
Absolutely.
Right. And and it has nothing to do with like witches don't go around worshiping the devil. Like that is not a thing at all. Is there a form of paganism? Sure. Like we look to other, it's a lot of that's nature spirits that we may look to, elementals and that kind of thing, but it has nothing to do with demons or the devil or worshiping that. That again is another stereotype.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Fair enough. So many listeners have experienced things they can't explain. Shadow figures, voices, moving objects, apparitions. Have you, any of you, personally experienced something paranormal that left absolutely no doubt in your mind that there was something beyond the ordinary happening here?
We're all going to have to take a turn with that one for sure.
Beautiful. Go for it. Yeah.
You're first.
You can.
I was having encounters before we even got started here. There has been some kind of entity that is, I think it's a friendly ghost because we've been doing divination lately, trying to communicate with passed on family. But my music app keeps opening itself, turning up the volume. I will manually turn it down, close it out, and it starts it back up. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's an issue with my computer. Then my phone starts doing something crazy. And this has been going on forever, but it's been getting more and more prevalent the more we start to acknowledge them. And they're like, ooh, they're paying attention to me. But yeah, even as a child, I had things thrown at me inexplicably. I've seen shadow beings, and I was under the impression as a child that this was all demonic, all scary. That's the lens I saw it under. I've come to see things very differently as I learn more, and I always want to learn more. But yeah, I've had things. Most of the time, they're just trying to get your attention, like floating shampoo bottles. I'm like, can you not mess with me while I'm in the bathroom? Like pick up me in the living room, and I've seen that too, like the light bulb slider that you have to press and then move up and down. Like we're just sitting around hanging down. They're like, light dark. I'm like, all right, yes, you're here. Hi, can I help you?
Nice.
But yeah, it never ends.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Katie, what about you?
Nothing that has like made me go, yes, I know what this is. I 100%, but I was lucky enough to get to go with Rachel earlier this year and just kind of sit back and be an observer. And it was kind of amazing. Like there were just things that I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Who is awake on my drive home that I can tell about just what happened? Nobody at 3:00 in the morning.
Wake up. You can call me next time. I'll probably be awake.
Hey, I was awake.
Yeah. I mean, nothing like what the girls have had, but I have a feeling
you'll get more of it.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
It's
you're around us. It's gonna happen.
There's definitely
Stop.
opening.
My app is
like
open.
at Haley's house.
Let's play this song.
There
No.
You go. There you go. What song was that playing, by the way, just now?
Oh, it's one of my originals. I'm not ready to release it yet, so please.
Okay, all right, just checking them out.
I do have
yeah, that would be great. Just premiere it on the Unholy Podcast, right? I mean, what better way to debut, right? No, that's great. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
All right, Rachel, you're up. What do you think?
Oh,
what have you had?
yeah. I mean, I'm the paranormal investigator of the bunch, so I've had a little bit more experiences. I've seen shadow figures. I've seen full-bodied apparitions. I've heard disembodied voices. I've been touched. And, I think some of the craziest still are those disembodied voices that you just don't expect are going to be so loud, and then they're loud, and then there are things like we hear all the time, like knocking sounds, tapping sound. You're like, where is that coming from right now? So yeah, I mean, it runs the gamut, really.
Gotcha. So let's talk protection, right? Many people carry crosses. crucifixes, saint metals, lucky coins, crystals, stones, whatever they believe is going to give them protection. What are your thoughts on protective items? Do they work because of belief? Do they work because of energy? Or some combination of the two? What are your thoughts? Let's start with you, Rachel.
I believe it's a combination of the two. I mean, you have to, like, of course, strongly believe in what you have to, I think, for it to be able to work. But such things as like crystals, have their own sort of energy and resonance to them. So that helps, so yeah, it's a combination.
Okay. Katie, what about you? What do you think?
Oh, I would agree. And then, Rachel's got her necklace, and I'm like, okay, well, in my pocket, I have these that I carry every single day.
Okay.
And yeah, I think for a lot of us, it's okay. What are the corresponding aspects or ideals that go with that crystal or that amulet or whatever? And that's really what I'm holding on to. It's like, okay, so this has strength in it. So now I have strength in me. And yeah, that mindset that Rachel was talking about, just getting kind of there and going, okay, I have this. I'm going to be all right.
Okay. All right. Haley, what about you? What have you got?
I agree all across the board. I think that a lot of it is a little bit more than just belief too. It's the intention that you charge up the pendant or amulet or crystal with. I think a lot of these things have inherent abilities as far as protection goes, or resonancies, frequencies that just naturally occur and have been documented as far as especially what crystals have. There's a lot of proof out there of different capabilities of crystals. They're even powering our cell phones. But really it comes into belief and intention, and actually taking the step to say, I want you to do this. I'm going to put this out there and then let you do your magic. So like for me, these are my daily stack that I've been wearing lately. Obsidian and volcanic rock for protection. I've got this one's tiger eye and jade, I think, for prosperity. And then this one is for romance and self-love. But these are things that like I want this in my life in general, no matter what else is happening. So I want to put that intention out there, and you water it. If you wear these things like this, you stick them out in the full moon to make sure you get all that full energy in there, and you revitalize not only the energy of the item itself, but your belief in it too.
All right, well said. Many of the listeners know that I curate haunted and cursed artifacts. I have some type of a small collection now, and I never keep more than like 6 on hand. They're warded in a chest in the garage. So you guys obviously know that items can be charged, crystals, things like that. But do you believe that emotion or trauma can attach itself and leave an imprint on a physical object? Let's start with you, Haley. Let's start with you this time.
Okay, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Some areas just hold so much negativity, and I think even in people's bodies that they have to go through things like somatic healing and things like that to release the tension and the trauma that's stored in your meat suit. the body that you embody every single day can hold this trauma, and so can the items that are near you the most. Especially if you do have things like trauma. I've seen it firsthand where someone really, really wanted to inflict harm, and they were a closeted witch, and they had a stone agate, and they would hold it in their hand, mumbling across their house nastiness, hatred all throughout the day, and then leave it when they wanted to curse someone and give them issues. And it backfired horribly, but I definitely think that there's some real proof to that there is negativity that can be stored up and charged in things as much as love and light and peace and abundance. So it's really important not only how you talk to yourself and the world around you, but who you associate with too.
Okay, fair enough. Rachel, thoughts?
Oh yeah. Well, I go around to the different paracons and talk about stone take theory and place memory and stigma theory. So that's kind of what all those is sort of embody a little bit of each, right? Stigma is more of like a traumatic event like a murder happening, or somebody, can go around and curse an object like a haunted doll. And then place memory is the location, the land itself. And then stone tape refers to like the building that it can be made out of. So if we've got a building that has a foundation of limestone, that may hold in the energy or amplify it. The same if it's granite or quartz. So I absolutely believe that those have something to do with the paranormal activity that surrounds it.
All right, terrific. And Katie, what do you think? Thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like, when you're just walking down the street and you can somebody's got a bad vibe and you can just kind of feel it. Well, that energy goes somewhere. If you're outside, it can dissipate. If you're inside, it's got to go somewhere. So that's going to soak into the walls, into the furniture, into whatever item you're carrying the most. And then we get to feel that bouncing back off when we go into some of these places.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Have you ever encountered an object that just made you feel completely uncomfortable? Like it gave you a strong feeling that something was very wrong. Did you ever have that? Have you ever seen that or felt that when you guys grabbed an object? Let's start with you, Katie. Let's go with you.
Yeah. I've started estate sailing a lot more in the last couple of years. And so, yeah, I have picked up a couple of things where I'm like, well, that was pretty from across the room, but no, thank you. It doesn't feel right in my hand. It can't go with me.
Okay. Rachel?
I mean, I had the ability at like last year's Esoteric Expo there at Rock Island. I had the fortunate to be part of that, and they had the Warrens Museum kind of traveling, and so I got to be in front of Annabelle, in front of the mirror, and I was surprised. I didn't feel a lot of energy coming off of those objects, but there was one object in the museum that I walked by it and I was like, what is that? Like, that is giving a vibe. And he had a whole bunch of like security people making sure nobody was like physically touching any of their objects. And he goes, you feeling something from that? And I was like, yeah, what the hell is it? And he said, well, it's the only object in this entire museum that actually has been said to have killed someone.
Oh, wow.
It was this doll. It was, if you could call it a doll, it didn't really look like a doll, but it was made out of all of these different human remains and animal remains. It had fingernail clippings and teeth in it and hair and like, and they created it all
ever.
Huh?
Worst Foogler ever.
I know. Ew. It was nasty, and you could feel it. I could feel it from even like 10 feet away. I was like, what is that? Like, I don't like that. And for some reason, and then he was like, yeah, the person who created this doll had an intended victim, right? And all they did was took a picture of the doll and they mailed it to this person. Ooh, and that person opened the mail and saw the picture and died.
Holy shit. Okay.
What?
All right. Wow.
You were not around. Sheesh.
Wow. Damn.
So everything else in that museum, even things that have been in movies, right? Glorified in, the Conjuring series and such, like they haven't showcased that yet.
Right.
So, that was probably the one thing I was like,
And you didn't touch this thing, right? You didn't.
Oh, heck no. No. And they don't let you get near or touch anything in that place. So
Okay.
that's a good thing.
Okay, wow. Well, let's see if you can upstage her. Haley, what do you think?
Well, I'm definitely never opening my junk mail again. That is for sure. Straight into the recycling bin.
Right.
So I don't think I can necessarily compete with that, but what I did have was a very intimate experience with an object that at first I thought was very innocent. My first boyfriend was a witch, and he gave me this necklace, and I thought it was really pretty. And the more he started to talk about it, I realized he had done blood magic on it, and he had tried to do a personal, like, obsession tie with me with this necklace. And I would feel sick when I took it off, and I would feel a wave over my body when I put it on, and it was just really bad and really toxic. And I was like, okay, you gotta be careful who you accept things from. And luckily I did not stay in that relationship very long, because he was just not a nice person at all. But I realized that he was doing a lot more than that behind the scenes, which is probably why it took me so long to get out of that situation in the first place. But phew, people do not mess around with love spells ever. Unless it's a self-love, don't do that. You don't want to have a hostage in a relationship. Wow. But that talisman,
you can't mess with free will.
Exactly. I threw that thing away, and honestly, the second it was driven away from my house by the trash truck, I felt like myself again. I was like, wow.
Wow, that is incredible. That reminds me of that movie Obsession with the One Wish Willow. Have you guys seen that movie, One Wish Willow? Where you break the stick and have the... It's
my
crazy.
Some reviewers have told me that it would probably be a little upsetting for me to watch that, so I don't think I'll be partaking. But I find it very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is very upsetting, and it's very similar to what you were describing, and it was very much, the loss of free will, which is just terrible, right? I mean, that's just,
don't recommend.
That is just
10 out of 10. Don't recommend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's terrible. So let's talk about religions. Speaking of demons, okay, let's go there. So many religions and traditions, they talk about spirits, negative spirits, energies, demons. Others describe a trickster, parasite, dark spirits, or malevolent energies. What are your beliefs? What are your views? And strictly like demons and negative spirits. We'll start with you, Katie. What do you think?
So demons are... I don't believe in demons per se. I think that's another just another fear tactic. Now, negative spirits, as far as like energy, absolutely, because we've all met people where you're like, that person just doesn't have a good soul.
Right.
And so yeah, I definitely think that is out there, but demons, I have a hard time with.
Okay.
Because I think we do more to ourselves than any kind of outside thing could do to us.
No, fair enough. Haley, what do you think?
Well, why don't you get Rachel next, and I'll follow up.
Okay, perfect. Rachel, what do you say?
I'm like the same, like Katie. I don't believe in demons. I believe in negative energy, because I think in this world, if you're to have the light or the positive, then you also have the negative and the dark. I mean, that's what the whole universe has in it. And so I think that there are negative people out there, right? And I'm more afraid of people than I am spirits, right? Because there are serial killers out there. Let's face it. There's just homicidal maniacs like out there. I'm much more afraid of that than I am of any spirits. And if you think that what we encounter when we're investigating, and what ghosts are, that they were human and they were people, then if you have people that are awful and negative, they're not going to change their spots. If they're that in life, they're going to be that in death. You can't change that.
Okay, fair enough. Haley, what do you say?
Okay, so I knew they were going to agree, and I didn't want to be sandwiched in there, because I definitely believe in demons. I've had so many unexplainable encounters in life that I don't have any entities that were living at one point that were attached to those experiences, including marks on my body physically, and they always tended to come through when I know people were doing things that were dark and ill-intentioned in the living realm. I do know that people summon things that they believe in demons. I do have that religious background, and I do think that there is, in my experience, enough to tell me that there are things beyond just ghosts that have stronger abilities, and it's okay that they don't believe. We all believe very, very different things in this group, and that's why we love each other, because we can learn from each other. So I don't know one way or the other for fact, but it is my personal belief that there are things that are inherently evil and feed off of that. And I, like you mentioned, parasitic things. I think that those aren't necessarily tied to Earth. I think that people who astral project and are in contact with alien entities and things like that can also bring things that are naturally parasitic, and that's why learning protection is so important, because no matter whether you're going into a haunted space where there's just been repeated death and death and death, or whether you are trying to connect with things otherworldly and bring back something that wants to feed off of your vibrant life energy, I think that it's a little bit more than just here comes my music again.
That's awesome. That's amazing. That is incredible.
Oh my gosh, as if on cue, right? Yeah, stop messing with me if you are a friendly ghost, please. Crazy. Yeah, I think sometimes there's just a little bit more than Granny was a mean person and she died. But if some of my family had passed on, I guess I could probably mistake them for demons too.
All right, fair enough. You know, Jen and Chris from the New Orleans Paranormal Society, when I spoke to them, they talked about some of the entities that they had come across. And Chris described what he thought he was fighting or battling was created on day one. And he made the distinction of a spirit being a loved one who has passed on versus a demonic entity that never had a human form to begin with. And their objective seems to be chaos. So, I mean, that's just one school of belief. But, you know, as paranormal investigators, we really don't know what we're dealing with. That's why we investigate, right? I mean, it could be black hole energy, it could be the particle accelerator, it could be an alternate version of ourselves, an evil version of ourselves fucking with us, right? I mean, we just don't know. So, you know, until we get the compendium where we can look it up and say, okay, flip to this page. Ah, there it is, okay. And, you know, and category. There's no encyclopedia, you know, that tells us definitively where these things come from, what they are, and what their purpose is. Now, I can go to the encyclopedia and look up, okay, German Shepherd, dog, canine species, you know, great companions, blah, 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 likes, you know, dog biscuits, you know, from there. So until that happens, it's really interesting that belief, I think, defines our own perception of reality. So let's talk about belief. So I've often talked about the possibility of people may invest energy into objects through belief. So millions of people pray to the cross. They pass the cross down to families, generations. They believe it can keep them safe. So can belief, your focus and your belief, create change? Can the intention empower an object, and can collective belief strengthen those types of symbols over time? What are your thoughts on that? How powerful is belief? Let's start with Katie. Let's hear this.
Oh yeah, we've all seen the family Bible, where, you know, every baptism is written down, every funeral, everything, and I think it absolutely gets power as it's passed through generations. Even if it's just, this was your great grandma's and she treasured it above everything. Now you are going to treasure that. You are not going to let anything happen to that Bible. You probably will never open it. It will sit maybe in a glass case because of the age of it. And it gains this mystery and this power because no one's allowed to touch it.
Right.
No one's allowed to even look at it.
Right.
But yeah, I think we do that with every object. I mean, you can even go watch an episode of Hoarders and they'll tell you every magical property that lives in every newspaper that is stacked 8 feet high. You know, we definitely put our own power and beliefs back and forth into objects.
Yeah, my stepfather collected TV guides. Of all things, it was a stacks pillars in the garage for no real purpose. Anyway, terrible thing. Okay, so Haley, what do you think? What do you think about belief and objects, and over time generational belief Does it strengthen or embolden the object?
Yeah, I think it absolutely can. I think it depends on how strong the beliefs are and how instilled they are as they're passed along, for sure. Like Katie said, I also have a family Bible. That's one of those gigantic ones. It has aura. Okay. You can definitely tell that there's been a lot of interesting lives that it's passed through here and there. But personally, for me, I think that it also comes into a little bit of an overlap with the realm of manifestation too. I highly believe in the law of attraction as well as quantum physics and the overlap of those. I've used them time and time again in my life to get things that I want, and I think that the same thing kind of applies with physical manifestations and things in life too. So if you give something meaning and you firmly believe it will solidify.
All right, that's fantastic. So I'd like you to manifest the lottery numbers for me this week, if you don't mind. I just need 6.
I'm working on it. I got you.
Just 6 numbers, please. All right. We'd all be great. Okay, Rachel, thoughts on generational belief objects' power?
I mean, I agree with Haley and Katie. I think, they both put it exactly how I would say. I think that there's a huge amount of energy that puts into someone's beliefs, right? I mean, that holds everything. I mean, that holds all the power that they have in their own hands, right? They may not know that, but like Haley said with manifestation, they're in law of attraction. If you believe and you're aligned with that belief, that's a huge piece of it, right? You have to be aligned to that belief. Then, you do see that come to fruition more times.
As far as the generational aspect comes into, another thing just popped into my head that I think is really fascinating is inherited general trauma as well works in the same manner, that it actually can be included in your genetics from relatives that you've never met. They've done studies where people can have fears of things for no logical reason other than it's been a fear that's been passed down over and over and over again. So positive or negative, it's going to solidify if you give it too much thought.
No, absolutely. That's fantastic. And, it's absolutely true. I was discussing aliens with my brother the other day. And I said, if a 6-foot tall entity, alien, came through my door, and this sumbitch had like a laser blaster and the head of a praying mantis, I said I would probably vomit on the spot. I said, because, as human beings, we have a natural revulsion to insects, right? We don't know why. I've never been attacked by a praying mantis. I've never had a praying mantis come and threaten me in my home or write me a dirty letter. But, deep down inside, seeing an 8-foot tall praying mantis with its mandibles moving as an insect, the horror, exactly, you got it, the horror that you would experience, it would be, generationally instilled in us to be afraid. So I absolutely agree with that. So next question here. So many cultures talk about the veil, thin places, and times when locations of the veil become weaker, like Samhain, Halloween, ancient sacred rites, burial grounds, certain forests, and then certain houses. So the question is, do you believe that some places are more spiritually active than others? And Rachel, we'll start with you.
I would say, oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
That I just know to be true because we've been in many places that are like that, where the veil is thin. And what that veil is, that's the other question, right? Like, is that just a parallel timeline that sits like right next to ours? And, at certain places that we call liminal spaces, right? Like, it just intersects and it's the perfect, like, has the perfect everything. Does it have limestone? Does it have water? Does it have, does it have historical significance? Like, was the Civil War there? And then, so you have all of those things. And then you have somebody intuitive walk in the place and they're like, whoa, everything is going off, for me, ding, ding, ding. Like, and that's when we start to get activity. But it was interestingly enough, I was talking just the other night about that and how it seems like, and I like to call it the others theory. And I don't know if y'all seen the movie The Others, but
sure, absolutely.
The others theory is that, are they, across the veil, are they thinking we're the ghosts?
Okay.
To them? Or, like we think they're the ghosts, but because that's what we've, been told and what we've experienced, right? Because we can't, see them as physical beings, but, is that their perception of us as well? So.
Yeah, if they had happened to see you, they would have been like, "Oh, look at the space lady! She's got pockets in her dress. Look at that! She's from the future, right?" I mean, they would have seen you as a future ghost, right? It would have been a trip. But no, that's fascinating, and that's absolutely. I agree. That is absolutely something to be pondered. So, Katie, what do you think? What are your thoughts about that? The veil thinning areas, different places being thinner.
I tend to look at like times of the year, like you were talking about with Samhain, and then the corresponding 6 months later, you have these moments in time where just like the planets are aligned and everything is just where it needs to be for communication to happen. And if you're lucky enough to be able to recognize those times and kind of understand how to put yourself in a place to receive, I think that's when people really have those kind of aha moments.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Haley, thoughts?
Yeah, I think a couple of things go into play with this. As far as physical locations, we know that there's infamous places like the Bermuda Triangle, the Alaska Triangle, the Dragon Triangle, all these places that are infamous for strange paranormal activity because of the thinness of the veil there. I tend to think that there are energetic points on the earth, like a grid line, where things run a little different. I think the ancient cultures definitely were aware of that, especially when you look at the positions of ancient monuments and things like that. I don't know for certain whether it's because they have more of an electromagnetic pull or whether there's more of a granite content or crystalline content or whatever. I don't know what the exact answer is to why there are certain spaces that attract more of this type of energy, but I definitely think that it's pretty well established over the human history that there are areas that you don't go into because there's things that live there and you don't want to mess with them. And there's also times of the year when things tend to get a little weird, especially like the post-Halloween spooky era. I mean, it's called that for a reason, but I think a lot of it has to do with how much access you are having personally with the world around you. During the later months of the year, you are reflecting, you are coming inside, you are gathering closer to your little close-knit circle of people gathering around the hearth. Whereas earlier throughout the year, you might not be necessarily as aware of entities and things like that because you're going out and about in your day. You're trying to get the sunlight that your brain is craving and being out in nature, even if a lot of us in our modern life don't do that very often. You're stuck with a screen in front of you. But I mean, for most of humanity, there were times when you came in and cuddled up and you might be a little bit more aware of weird stuff that's happening around you because you're inside during all of the winter months versus earlier in the year. So I think it's a two-layered question for sure. And there's weird stuff that happens in different times and there's weird stuff that happens in different places, and eventually we'll figure out why. But there's a lot of different pieces that it might be multiple reasons.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Have any of you encountered anything that genuinely frightened you? Something that just terrified you?
Oh, I can go real quick if you want.
Perfect.
Probably my first encounter with a Bigfoot.
Okay, tell us about that.
Yeah, so I thought it was demonic because, again, that was the lens I was seeing everything through. But I moved into this house where I am right now, and it had previously been vacant for 3 years. And I think that what happened was when we moved into this property, the territory was being disturbed for the first time in such a long time, and the beings that live here necessarily weren't too happy with there being occupants inside. But I was sitting on my couch, and right behind my back. There's a wall behind me, and a boom, 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 so loud that I felt it throughout my entire body, and I got chills from head to toe. And within seconds, my mom was in the kitchen, and we heard this growl. And she described it like a dragon because it stopped you in your tracks. Same thing, chills, frozen, completely terrified. No idea what it could have been. Until later on, I've heard other people play back reported Bigfoot howls, growls, roars, and I was like, that's what that was.
Wow.
And it was like 3 knocking, and so it must have been 2 things happening at once, but that scared me. And it's been a more tame interaction since then, but my initial reaction was, whoa, that was so intense.
Wow, that is incredible and terrifying. Katie,
it was scary.
What about you, Katie? What have you got? Scare us.
Nothing that's like terrified me. I mean, I've had, a couple of investigations and just been like, I'm not supposed to be in this room right now, and that's okay. But yeah, nothing that like, I don't know. I'm catching up to these girls. They've been living this life they've been living this life for a minute. So, I am so excited about what's coming up to scare me.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
It's happening.
That moment where you're like, okay, this is the moment. This is the one that for the rest of my life, this is what I will talk about.
All right.
Watch you get eaten by Bigfoot right in front of your eyes.
Well. Oh, okay. Well, fair enough. Rachel, what have you got? Terrify us.
I don't think there's been a location yet that's kind of like terrified me. There was definitely a couple of places where I felt uncomfortable. I would say like my experience at Brushy was definitely one of them. That's Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary here in Tennessee. So it's a prison that is no longer a prison, but they allow people to come in and investigate it. And it was a prison for almost 100 years. And so there's a lot of history of that and history of, violence and that kind of thing. And we were inside a building that was kind of separate from the prison block. Yeah, so we were in this building that was kind of separate from the main prison block. They call it the Hole. It had 2 floors to it. The hole itself was at the bottom floor, and they had some nasty cells there where they put prisoners who were misbehaving or deemed as being misbehaving, and they unfortunately tortured people there. I had walked into the building on the very first floor, which is the top floor, and we started investigating there. And right away, I kind of felt uncomfortable. I felt like there was something watching us from like the corner of the building. And I was asking, my friend who I was investigating with, who's kind of also intuitive. And I was like, is there any part of this space that you feel uncomfortable? And she was like, that corner right there. She was like, I feel like something's watching us. And I was like, okay, I'm not alone. And then it got to where it felt like I couldn't breathe, like I couldn't catch my breath. I felt real heaviness on my chest, and my husband was there too, and I got pissed off at him because I told him, I was like, I feel like I can't breathe. I've got to get out of here. I have to get out of this space. I have to get out now. And he was like, okay, so going out. And I was like, are you not coming? Do you not care? Yeah. So I walked out of that space, and the second I got out into the courtyard, the prison courtyard area, and I was able to kind of ground myself, like I got rid of like that energy that I felt. So that was probably the most like uncomfortable I've been in a location.
Okay. All right. Terrific. Well, ladies, it's time for the Unholy Fire. This is my favorite part of the show. And what this is, it's a famous speed round. And I'm going to ask you just the first answer that comes to your mind. 1-word answers, no overthinking, just your immediate reaction. So we'll go
and
in
don't tell my
order.
therapist.
I'll say that again.
I said, and don't tell my therapist.
That's right. Don't tell your therapist. Right. Exactly. So we'll start with, we'll go Rachel, Haley, Katie in that order. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. First word, ghosts.
Spooky.
Hey, Haley?
Foreign.
Okay. Katie?
Probably.
Okay. All right. Bigfoot. Rachel?
Believe.
Okay.
I believe or whatever.
All right. Haley?
Yes.
And Katie?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So let's go UFOs. Rachel, first word that pops in your head.
Yes, real.
Okay. Haley?
Experienced.
Okay. And Katie?
Frightening.
Okay. All right.
Aw.
All right. Shadow people. Rachel?
Exist.
Haley?
Creepy.
Katie?
No.
All right. Demonic possession. Rachel?
Oh. I don't know. That's a weird one.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Weird.
Okay. Perfect. And Haley?
Terrifying.
And Katie?
Sad.
All right. Exorcisms. Rachel?
Maybe necessary.
Okay. Haley?
Unqualified.
Okay. All right. And Katie?
Traumatic.
Psychics. Rachel?
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I believe.
All right. Haley?
Natural.
And Katie?
Exploitable.
All right. Here's one that you guys will like. Crystals. Rachel?
Collect them all.
All right. Haley? Thoughts?
Shiny.
And Katie?
Mine.
Mine.
Ouija boards. Rachel?
Tool.
Haley?
Nope.
And Katie?
Responsible.
Okay. Cursed dolls. Rachel?
I want one.
It's supposed to be one word, Rachel.
That is Rachel's one word. I want.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's great. Haley?
Enclose. I don't
Okay.
keep them locked away from me.
All right. And Katie?
Real?
Okay. All right. The Bell Witch. Rachel?
Legend.
Haley?
Lore.
And Katie?
Please.
All right. Life after death. Rachel?
Real.
Haley?
Fact.
Katie?
Unknown.
Modern magic. Rachel?
Spells.
Haley?
Personal.
And Katie?
Intention.
All right. Final question before we wrap everything up tonight. And ladies, you did fantastic on the Unholy Fire. I appreciate it. So tell everyone where they can find you. Tell us about the Hallowed Hearth Podcast. Tell us about any upcoming projects you guys have. And tell us where listeners can follow your work so closely.
Go, Katie, go. She's been our spearhead right now, just knocking it out of the park.
Perfect.
Okay. So we have just gotten our domain name. We are officially going to be the Hallowed Hearth Podcast.com.
Nice. Very nice.
So-
Congratulations.
We are working on the website as well. And that should publish hopefully this weekend. So just a matter of days, people are going to be like, hey, I know those girls. I've been listening to them on YouTube. And yeah, that's the main spot where you can find us right now is just YouTube under the Hallowed Hearth Podcast, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And all of our videos are there. You guys are going to start seeing some neat stuff. We are going to try to get some of those, at least our favorite moments, over on Spotify. We are working on a Patreon page right now, so we'll get to do lots of fun little side projects that people can then check back in with us later. And yeah, we've got so much coming up. Lots of folks. Girls, tell them about some of our guests, because I'm super excited.
Yeah, we're rounding out our literary series right now. We have my uncle, I love him dearly, Jay Greenway, is joining us to discuss his book, The Ravenward House of the Red Death. We have other amazing authors. We have a special guest you might know coming on soon. We're very excited about. We have so many cool collaborations coming forward. Do you want to tell a little more, Rachel?
Yeah, well, we had the psychological thriller author A.G. Mock on the other night, and he might be popping on a little more frequently. So you got to tune in to know more, but we're excited for the future. We have obviously somebody who us coming on as well. That's super exciting. And we've got some other guests that people might know in the paranormal field. We have Alex Matsudo, who is going to be coming on soon, Dr. Belle Slevin, so that's just a couple of names.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, ladies, I want to thank you all for being here. Rachel, Haley, Katy, thank you guys for coming on the podcast. I super appreciate it. It's been great to meet you guys and talk to you. 1 hour just doesn't seem like enough time, but
it never does.
It never is. We could talk for days. So you can learn more about the podcast, these ladies, Facebook. You guys can go to their website. And if you want to learn more about me, you can always go to authordougowen.com. And if you want to see the podcast and learn more about these ladies, you can go to my website. There will be a little section there created for them as well. So, as I say to all my listeners and watchers, until next time, stay safe, be aware, and beware, because sometimes the silence is the most terrifying thing.
You've just heard another chilling chapter of the Unholy Podcast, hosted by Doug Owen, author, investigator, and witness to the things most fear to name. For more real stories, cursed objects, and exclusive content, step deeper into the dark at authordougowen.com. Subscribe, share, and remember, some silences aren't empty, they're waiting.